Coming up on Currently, the YMCA Childcare Center gets a new home, the Old Town Playhouse is gearing up for an extra special season, and it's Restaurant and Retail Roundup time, so saddle up and get ready for episode 17 of Currently. Welcome to Currently, where we discuss some of the top local stories directly from the journalists who are covering them. I'm your host, Christal Frost. Now, before we start the show, I want to be sure to let you know about the Michigan Arts and Culture Summit taking place in Traverse City this weekend. It's a 2-day celebration of arts, culture, and creativity, and our very own producer, Jordan Anderson, along with his film partner and friend of the show, Joe Byer, will be giving a keynote speech on Saturday about their feature-length documentary, Marquee Town. Get your tickets at nwmiarts.org. Now, we're going OG style on today's episode of Currently, back to our roots as Beth, Milligan, and I discuss the news from the past week. This podcast was recorded on Thursday, May 29th at 5 p.m. The Tigers are 37-20, leading the American League Central. That said, things may change by the time you're watching or listening. Support for Currently comes from Golden-Fowler Home Furnishings, located on South Garfield in Traverse City. It's home fashion elevated. And from West Shore Bank. When you choose West Shore Bank, you're not just choosing a bank, you're choosing a partner committed to the well-being of our community. Visit them today on 8th Street or at westshorebank.com. Support also comes from the Coin Slot Arcade Bar in Traverse City. It's a chill hangout with a full bar in a low-key setting. Well, Beth, here we are.
OG style.
Head writer of the Ticker, episode 17. Wow, how are you?
We're almost an adult. We're almost there. We're almost grown up.
We are on the edge of 17?
Yes.
Fair. Can I say that without having to pay anything to Fleetwood Mac?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Of course.
Right. Well, Beth, I'm excited to talk about the stories that you have lined up for us this week. When I say OG style, for those who are maybe new to the show, for about 10 years, you and I did a traditional broadcast radio segment on a local radio station. And, so that's why we're OG now.
Yeah, we've been doing this a long time.
We really have. We really have. But it's always new and it's always fresh. And that's thanks to your reporting. So I'm super excited about the first story. I always love the Restaurant and Retail Roundup. I'm going to do a little yeehaw there.
Yeehaw!
Because we're rounding it up.
Yes.
We're making everyone aware of what is going on in the restaurant retail space all across Grand Traverse County and beyond.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So we do these stories every, 3 to 4 weeks. We've mentioned previous episodes of the show, some restaurant news, but we had a lot of restaurant news, a lot going on in the local dining scene here in Grand Traverse County. So the first one, of course, many folks will know J&S Hamburg on South Airport Road. They have Project Feed the Kids. Tiffany and Jason McQueer are going to be expanding to a Kingsley location.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. So they're longtime Kingsley folks themselves. There are a lot of people in the Kingsley community who come in and have breakfast at the diner or lunch there. They are going to be taking over the former cast iron kitchen space on Main Street.
Oh, great location.
Yeah. So I think, Kingsley, especially over the last couple of years, has really had a lot of businesses kind of build out in the downtown area. Terry Bia is part of a group of property owners there who have been trying to woo businesses to Kingsley, kind of, get the coffee shop in place, get the ice cream shop, get the, whatever it might be. So J&S is another addition to that. They are hoping to be opening in mid-July.
Oh, wow.
If you follow their social media, they've been already starting to post a lot of videos and pictures of them renovating that space. So that'll be coming soon.
It's so good for them. I just think what they have done with Project Feed the Kids is phenomenal. I mean, it really is. And I know it started, they started with just the restaurant, but they've just expanded to do so many good community services and events. And it's fantastic.
Yeah. So they have a cooler in Kingsley already, but now they'll have a restaurant out there as well. So that was one. And then also kind of another example of A family who has long time local ties in the restaurant scene, including in Kingsley, are the McAllisters. Brian McAllister, a county commissioner, owns Hofbrau out in Interlaken.
Yeah.
His son Mogan has been an employee at Hofbrau since it sounded like he was like 12 years old.
Oh yeah. And Mogan's been there forever.
Yeah.
Like just a little kid, doing dishes. I love it.
Yeah. And that happens with a lot of restaurant kids. They grow up doing the dishes, whatever they can to help their parents to start. And then eventually line cook, and he's been running the kitchen. They are taking over the former space where Rich's Roadside Cafe and also Paige's was at one time out in Honor.
Oh, yeah.
Right on the edge of Interlaken there. So they're going to be opening a new restaurant. They're hoping to open in late June called the Hammered Heifer.
Okay.
This is going to be smash burgers, soups and salads, veggie and chicken burgers, a full bar. If people don't know that building, it's very iconic. It's kind of an oddly shaped circular building out there.
Yeah.
Very distinct. There's also a pole barn next to it that's been used for storage previously, but they're turning that into an expanded dining area.
Cool.
So they're going to have like a patio, picnic tables, outdoor games like cornhole. Mogan mentioned the possibility of axe throwing at some point, which I'm like,
well.
To see what happens with that. But yeah, so they're also expanding out there.
That's exciting. And so that there's a few of their family members that are already own restaurants, so that you mentioned.
Yeah, so we've got Hofbrau, the KI in Kingsley.
Yep.
Mogan's brother is running that.
Yeah.
So he said, he wants to essentially, he can't break the family streak. He's got to have another successful restaurant
talk
going.
about pressure, though. What if he was just like, I want to be a dentist?
Right.
Sure, they'd be fine with it.
It's too late for you.
It's too late. You have to have a restaurant.
Yeah.
I love it. More news coming. This is a new restaurant called Frank's 231 with a very familiar name. Chef Dan Compton and his wife are going to be starting that, right?
Yeah, yep. And so this is kind of inspired by, if you've traveled through the South, they have a lot of restaurants what are called like meat and three restaurants, which are, you get like your main protein. It might be barbecue. It might be, pork, whatever it might be. And then three sides.
Okay.
It's called meat and three. So it's kind of based on that concept. Dan was the chef at Farm Club. He still works there, but has stepped back from the chef role so that he can start preparing to open his own new restaurant.
Yeah.
This is going to be on Garfield, where Cicero's was, across from the Cherryland Center.
Oh, sure.
So Cicero's closed there. They're still open out in Interlaken, but that location is closed. So that's where they're going in. And he's really going to be, he has a long time experience as a butcher, a sausage maker. He was a chef in Chicago for many years. He kind of joked that, everybody talks about being farm to table.
Yeah.
Now it's almost a cliche. But he is the guy, especially because of Farm Club. He's met so many farm owners.
Right.
He knows how to pickle, preserve, like he kind of does it all.
Yeah.
So he'll be doing things like, in addition to the sausage making, he'll have like veggie sides, veggie sandwiches, cornbread, buttermilk biscuits, bacon baked beans, all kinds of examples of different side dishes to go with that.
That sounds amazing.
And they're hoping to be open also in late June.
Okay.
A couple days a week to start, and then expanding from there.
So looking at like both lunch and dinner, or?
Yes. Like he mentioned probably hours of like Friday through Monday, 12 to 8.
Nice.
They have dine-in seating. They also have carry-out. They won't have a liquor license, but they'll have some kind of creative NA options like Northwood sodas and things like that.
Yeah. You know what? We need more, kind of fast casual, if you will. I know that's not necessarily what this is going to be, but it feels like it's going to be a little bit quicker for people who work on that side of town.
Yeah, I think maybe like elevated fast casual.
Yes.
I mean, certainly his background is pretty prestigious in terms of food production.
Yeah.
But he did mention, that's a busy location and a great spot maybe to just grab some dinner on the way home.
Love that. I love it. More restaurants coming, right?
Yeah, so we had a few other that we mentioned in the article. Ume Eats, which is over in the former Papa John space on South Airport Road. That's a new sushi, poke, bento kind of options coming soon. They're in their soft launch phase, but they are open right now.
Okay.
Planning a grand opening after the Cherry Festival. And then we also mentioned Mason, which is the Delamar Hotel in downtown Traverse City, is changing their bistro space into this all-day cafe called Mason. So they are going to have pastries from the mill out in Glen Arbor, coffee from Panther Coffee, which is a well-known local small batch roaster. And then they'll have breakfast and lunch with like to-go sandwiches, or grab and go options, things like that.
That sounds awesome. There were a couple of places that we've mentioned before, but they're open now.
Yes.
So I have to say, haven't tried Sisters on West Front Street yet. That's a brunch spot. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yes, had a great brunch there myself.
Natolo's Little Italy, we were able to try that. Fantastic.
Probably, I would say, one of the best value happy hours I've seen in time. If you go 3 to 5 every day, really great prices on food and drinks, and really good options there.
And true to Eric Natolo, I mean, the portions are big.
Yes, you can go get filled up for a decent price.
Yes, you really can. Super Cone is open along with Somewhere Over the Trombo, and this is at the Coin Slot campus.
Yes, our stomping grounds nearby.
It is.
And I also want to mention the Coin Slot because this past weekend I had a chance to go at the Civic Center try a Pakistani street food pop-up called Jadoo Bites.
Yeah.
Ace and his wife Molly, they're super, super nice couple. That was their first kind of opening weekend. They're just trying it out to introduce some new food to the market, hoping to kind of build a following and expand from there. But they are going to be popping up Sundays at the Coin Slot. So check them out there. It's
that's
great
fantastic.
Food.
Two Sons Pizza is leaving the Coin Slot.
Yes, but not closing.
No.
At least that's the plan so far. So Steve Tyson, his lease at the Coin Slot is expiring at the end of this year. They've obviously, built a great relationship over the last couple of years. He is looking though now to kind of move to a larger space. He talked about expanding his menu. So they are still open at the Coin Slot through the summer. You can get your slices. And then probably, is towards the fall, he's looking for his new location right now. Once we have an update on that, we'll let folks know where he's going.
And speaking of an update, it was first reported by the Ticker, the brand new Meijer.
Yes.
The third Meijer in Grand Traverse County.
We broke the internet that day.
It did break the internet. Tell us where they are in that process right now.
Yeah, so we just had a quick update on that, which is that they have received their approval from Blair Township, which is a major step forward for the store. I checked in with their communications team this past week. They do still have some additional approvals to work through. For example, they're going to have to figure out the entrance to that store working with MDOT because there may be a new traffic signal going in that area near Chump's Corner. So they're still working through some things. So they haven't said yet what the timing is going to be, but so far they're getting green lights to keep moving forward.
I mean, I'm a big fan of a third Meijer. I know that people have said other things, whatever. I just think 3 Meijer. I want to be a 3 Meijer town.
Well, and I think as we mentioned before, it's either you're going to be closer to that Meijer in Chump's Corner, or if you, like you and I think, shop at the TC one on 31, it's ideally going to alleviate some of the traffic there to make it a little easier for those of us shopping there.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah.
Let's hope so. All right. We have more local news stories on the way. But first, a word from our major sponsor, our big supporter, Golden-Fowler Home Furnishings. And I want to tell this story about how my kids and my grandkids have been staying with us while they wait to move into their new place. And the best thing about this is the snuggle time that I get with my grandkids. They are just, kids are so snuggly at the ages of 1 and 3 anyway, but they cozy up to us in our bed while we're drinking our morning coffee, or I cozy up with them in their beds when we're reading bedtime stories. And as fun as this is, there's also the up in the middle of the night time. Let me tell you, when your 3-year-old grandson has a nightmare and wants you to sleep with him on his twin bed, you don't argue. It's not always going to be comfortable sleeping with a toddler, but it helps when you have a comfortable mattress. Think Stearns & Foster, America's original mattress. Now, for over 100 years, Stearns & Foster has been the gold standard in mattress quality, and Golden-Fowler Home Furnishings carries every Stearns & Foster model, including twin beds, in their showroom, so you can relax, test them out in person. They even have a comfort guarantee. Golden-Fowler Home Furnishings might not be able to keep your toddlers from kicking you. That happens too. But they can guarantee you a comfortable mattress that fits your body and your budget. So head over to Golden-Fowler Home Furnishings on Garfield Avenue in Traverse City, where you can find comfort to rest, live, and repeat. All right, welcome back to Currently. We have another story here that is kind of an update from a story that you covered, I want to say a few months ago now. The new childcare, there's a new childcare home, I guess I should say. YMCA has a new home for their childcare center in Long Lake Township, right?
Yes. Yeah, we reported this in December that they were losing their lease at Sojourn Church. They had been there since 2016, and the church, Sojourn, is expanding. So they were wanting to use the space where the child care center is now. So the YMCA had to find a new home. And this is significant. I'm sure, many folks know we have a child care shortage in the region. It's really, for some people, it's really at a crisis point.
Yeah.
So potential loss of a child care center that served, at the time, 55 children, dozens of families, was a really significant issue. And the challenge is exacerbated by the fact that it takes a long time. Like, even if they could quickly find another location, going through the licensing, the types of requirements you have to have for fire suppression systems, egress, it's really onerous. And that's been, a discussion among the legislature of whether to loosen some of those things. But in the meantime, it's hard even for people who want to provide childcare to get everything lined up to do that. Thankfully, in the case of the YMCA, they were able to, after looking at, Andrew Page, the CEO, said they looked at probably 20 locations trying to find a new home. They came to Kensington Church on Secor Road in Long Lake Township. So they have reached an agreement with Kensington to move there. They were in front of the Long Lake Township Planning Commission this week with an application to operate at the church. That application was approved, so they have the okay to go ahead. They are hoping right now, Sojourn did give them an extension, which they were very grateful for. So they have to be at a Sojourn by the end of August.
Okay.
That they feel comfortable now, especially with the township approval, that in the next couple months they have to get their fire approval and their state licensing approval. But they feel good that they're going to be able to maintain services without disruption for the families.
Oh, that's amazing.
So starting September 1st, be over in the new building at Kensington.
So, moving over into a place like the Kensington campus on Secor it's a pretty smart move, though, because they probably already have to have, fire suppression, a plan in place just to be an operating church, right?
Yeah, part of the reason that you maybe see child care centers go into churches is, one, sometimes the zoning is a little more forgiving for houses of worship than for other locations. Child care is often built in as an allowed use or a conditional use in those spots. But you're right, they're often, if you just think about how a church is laid out, they've got lots of space, they've got classrooms, they usually have facilities that are designed to accommodate kids in the church.
Yeah.
They have lots of parking.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways that churches are usually a good fit for this. In this case, there was some discussion this week about the sort of dangerous area of Secor in East Long Lake. If for folks that know the area, I will say the YMCA explained that, again, we're talking about 50 kids, many of whom are siblings. So there's not 50 cars.
Right.
They do stagger their drop-offs in the morning between 8 and 9 a.m., so they're not all coming at the same time. They're staggered. And they also have staggered pickups all afternoon. So it's not like a crunch where all the cars are there at the same time.
I'm just going to say it. Maybe that's a new site for a roundabout.
Well,
I love roundabouts.
We love roundabouts on the show. Not everybody does, but they do work. I will say, though, for folks who just to flag about that area, in addition to the staggered drop-offs, which should help with traffic, the Road Commission will be doing improvements in that area. So there are plans in place to kind of shave down some of the grading on Secor. The hill there makes it a little hard to see, and that adds to the dangerous aspect of that corridor, but that is going to be addressed.
Yeah, I'm glad they're going to address that. I'm glad that YMCA Childcare has a new home, and I'm also glad for Kensington too, because it's a beautiful building, and maybe this will be a good partnership, and they can even grow the child care center in the future.
They do. They said they have the capacity in the future if they can get the staffing to go up to 75 children, which would definitely be a help for the community.
75. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to transition into a really fun story that you wrote about the Old Town Playhouse. And this is like their 65th season of community theater in this area. 65 years.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
And they're having like a bonkers big season. I called it bonkers because I'm like, wow, they're going to be basically putting up, I don't know how many shows, but just a ton of shows this year. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun story to write because, the way the ticker is structured, we have one main story a day in our newsletter and then a couple side stories that we call out and abouts or briefs. But because we're covering so much hard news and there's so much going on in our county, we don't often get into the arts. You know, we have the Northern Express, our sister publication for that. But this was a nice opportunity. And I did feel it was newsworthy because the Playhouse is doing so much this coming season to celebrate 65 years. So first of all, their main stage season, which starts in the fall, they usually have 5 shows on the main stage. They're going to have 6 this year. They've got everything from Sister Act to the Rocky Horror Show, Matilda, big holiday production Matilda with the Young Company and the main stage. So kids and adults together. In a very big, probably family-friendly show that'll be fun for folks to go to. We also talked about what I thought was interesting about this season is that in addition to an expanded season, they're doing some off-site productions.
Okay.
So the kids kind of take over the Playhouse building on 8th Street for the summer. They've got camp. They're spread out every day.
It's a really great camp.
It's a great camp, but very busy in that building. So the Old Town Playhouse was offered early production rights to Mount the Prince of Egypt, which is the DreamWorks animated film, if folks remember that, about the story of Moses. Huge popular film in the 90s. It is a stage musical as well. They wanted to do that, but they were like, we don't know how we're going to do that when we have kids in our building all summer. So they are partnering with Milligan Auditorium to do that.
Oh, cool. And that's great because didn't Eleanor Milligan...
She sure did.
Yes. She was one of the founders.
She was the founder of the Old Town Playhouse. So it feels like they said it felt very fitting to be starting off the anniversary season in Milligan Auditorium. That they're doing some really kind of cool things because they have so many shows going. They were worried about overtaxing their volunteer base. So they've gotten a lot of community groups to get involved. Churches are donating rehearsal space. Their choirs are getting involved. The Grand Traverse Men's Shed is helping build the sets.
Oh, I love the Men's Shed.
The great nonprofit that, has been doing lots of great work in the community. Quilting and sewing groups getting involved. And so that show will be at Milligan August 21st through 22nd. Tickets are on sale now.
Okay.
They're going to be doing auditions this coming week. So if you're interested in trying out, the Playhouse website has more information. And they were saying this is a show. I mean, if you think about the story of Moses or the film, you've got parting the Red Sea. You've got
there's
miracles.
a lot.
There's it sounds like they're going to be doing some cool visual lighting kind of tricks to bring this epic biblical story to life. Yeah. So they're really looking for a lot of people to get involved.
Can we talk about how truly special it is to have such an incredible community theater? I think OTP has done a great job of sort of redefining what community theater means. And you have so many people involved in these productions and they're volunteers. It's just unbelievable to me. Not only the amount of talent that we've had, that are on the stage, but the amount of talent off the stage that are helping to bring these shows to us. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And so the Playhouse also has a new artistic director, Wes Curry, who just came here recently from North Carolina. He's going to be directing The Prince of Egypt. And then I thought the other thing to highlight would be the return of studio shows this year. These are the downstairs, usually more edgy experimental shows. They have tackle interesting social issues. They're a little smaller, 50, 60 people, but those are going to be in the Schmuckel Theater downstairs, a full season of that coming back. And another off-site show, Old Town Playhouse has been asked forever to do dinner theater.
Yes.
They are going to be doing a really kind of, I think, cool version of this. They are going to be producing a show called 10 November, which is about the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Oh, boy.
It is the 50th anniversary this year of the sinking of the ship.
Yep.
And they are going to be doing it at the Grand Traverse Yacht Club right on the bay.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be happening November 7th through the 9th. And that will really be a whole week. The Writer Series is having an author coming about the Fitzgerald. The Maritime Academy has its annual memorial ceremony. So it'll be almost a full week of activities for the Fitzgerald.
This is really cool. And you wrote so well about this. And if people want to know, exactly what to expect with the Old Town Playhouse, you can always read the story at traversticker.com. You can go to the Old Town Playhouse website too. Have you ever tried out for an OTP show?
Well, Fun fact, I was in Oliver when I was in junior high. Yes. And that is how I met our friend Chris Wendell.
Okay.
Who we know who's very involved here in the Traverse City community. We were in that show together. And I love it. And my family, my uncle was, Dave Elliott was in Old Town Playhouse shows for years. So we have a lot of theater in our family and we really love OTP.
Will we see you on a stage anytime soon?
Here's the thing. I cannot carry a tune to save my life.
But it's not all singing and dancing.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. And I have thought about, what's great about the Playhouse is, and I'm not shy, but I don't know if my talents are suited for being on stage, but there's plenty of ways to get involved. If you like doing costumes, props, you want to play in the orchestra, help behind the scenes. There's lots of ways you can do that.
Yeah. I tried out for one show, and I'm a terrible dancer. Like I can't like
you are a good singer
all.
Though.
I'm an okay singer, but I'm a pretty terrible dancer. And so it was like I got to the next round with the singing, and then they were like, all right, show us what you got with the dancing. And then it was like, you can go.
And you can see yourself out.
And you're done, Christal. So, I'm looking for maybe singing, but no dancing if they're ever,
I think you and I should play the Steve Martin short roles in Prince of Egypt.
There you go. That would be perfect for us.
Okay.
There you go. I
look
love
for
it.
us in that in August.
Oh, that is fantastic. Speaking of looking forward to things, this feels really like it is the beginning of summer for me because I'm super, super looking forward to the Pit Spitters. Yes. We get tickets every season, and that's something that we've been doing for this is going into the 6th season now?
I think so. Since before the pandemic. So,
wow. Yeah. So we've been doing this for a long time. And they actually start tonight. So I'm really excited about that. We have tickets. We're going to be going. What are you excited about this week?
Well, I'm also very excited for baseball and the summit that you talked about. We'll be doing both those things this weekend. And then the last thing I'll plug is, I'm involved with the Bay Theater as a volunteer, and we have a really fantastic band called Sturts playing at the Bay on Sunday at 4:00. They've been featured on NPR. That's kind of like a folk quartet, just really beautiful, cool, younger music, but it's great for all ages. We're going to have a great crowd there, and come out to the Bay on Sunday.
I love that. So lots to do this weekend, lots to do this week, and we'll be back actually next week with a very special show. I'm excited about this. We have a special guest, Joe Byer, who is a friend of the show. He's a freelance writer for Travers the Magazine and other publications. He's going to bring us a sneak peek into summer festival season, which I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting this Joe Byer.
He also happens to be your life partner.
He happens to be my partner, yes. But that'll be great.
You should put this Joe Byer. Tell me more.
I have read this story that he wrote that is going to be featured on the show next week, and it's great. We'll have a great conversation with him about that.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you to yet another wonderful show. Number 17 in the can, my friends. We are back next week, as we said, and you can always subscribe to the show on all platforms at crystalfrost.com. It's super easy to do that. You can follow us on social media. We are everywhere. You can subscribe to Currently with Crystal Frost wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch the full show on YouTube and Facebook. New episodes drop 6 a.m. every Friday. Currently is a Compass local podcast. It's produced by the one and only Pancake Boy Productions. We want to say big thanks to our lead supporter, Golden-Fowler Home Furnishings, in addition to the wonderful West Shore Bank and the coin slot. And speaking of the coin slot, King Kong has invaded the coin slot. Stop what you're doing and check out the brand new Stern Pinball King Kong today. It's at the coin slot on East Front Street in Traverse City. We should go play some King Kong.
Let's go do it.
Let's do it.